It's interesting the way nostalgia works. Something can be so-so, but because it happened when you were a child, you just remember it as being awesome or amazing. I think that was kind of the issue with the ride Star Tours at the time was MGM Studios, which is now Hollywood Studios in Florida. I remember riding it when I was a kid and just thinking, oh, this is amazing to be inside Star Wars. And then a few years ago, I rode it again and was like, this is kind of, it is what it is. Well, they updated Star Tours recently, you may have heard, and I finally got a chance to do the Star Tours. I think it's called The Adventure Continues at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and wanted to give you a review and kind of a walkthrough of what happens on the ride. Just to let you know, the ride itself is a randomized ride. I bring that up first because I think it's the most interesting part of the new ride. In other words, there are sections, and in each section, a different thing can happen. There's actually different trips and journeys you can go through. And what this makes for is a ride that you can ride over and over and over again and never really get the same trip. Now, having said that, I think there are 11 little sections that you go through in 4 segments. 11 sections in 4 segments. And over the course of the day I was there, I did manage to see all 11 segments, so I can tell you about those. But basically what happens is you start with an intro, and there's only 2 intros. One is with Darth Vader, and the other is without Darth Vader. Then you go into a section where you go to a planet. I think the 3 choices are Hoth, Tatooine, you do like a pod race in Tatooine, or the third, I don't know what the name of the planet, it's the Wookiee planet. You go to Chewbacca's planet. That's the third option in the first, the first actual planet options. Then there's like this little interspersed like hologram message, and it either comes from Yoda, Leia, or Admiral Akbar, of all people. It's a trap. And then the third and final section of the planet section, you either end up over Coruscant in like a space battle thing, or battling Boba Fett in like an asteroid field, which also leads to the Death Star, so it's like Boba Fett and the Death Star, or Naboo, where you end up kind of in an aerial battle, and then you end up underwater and facing some of like the creatures from the Gungan City, kind of through the Naboo Sea kind of thing from the Phantom Menace. So those are the options. Those are the 11 options. And after going through it several times, I have to say, I was thoroughly pleased with what they've done here. There's something about being inside the Star Wars universe that is just, whether it's the nostalgia or whatever it is, it's just exhilarating. There's something about fighting Darth Vader or Boba Fett or whoever the case may be, and coming away going, I just took part in Star Wars. I should also mention it's 3D now, which I think adds to it. And what's really cool about the 3D is it's not like pop out at your face kind of Captain EO kind of 3D. It's depth 3D. So it really feels like you're looking out into a landscape, whether it be Hoth or Tatooine or whatever. Very well done. Very impressive. There's also an interactive element. It picks one person in each group that it actually puts in the thing as like a spy. And is that spoilers to give away the plot? I don't, really? Probably not. But you like are harboring this spy, and it's actually somebody in your trip. So that's kind of funny and interesting. There's always a big laugh when that happens. And one more thing I wanted to mention before I talk about what parts I like the best and finish up the review. The other thing is, if you go to Hollywood Studios and go to Star Tours, I'm going to guess you're not going to wait in line very long right now. The day I was there for less than 2 hours and rode it 5 times. That's mind-blowing to me that a brand new ride like that, but they push people through so quickly, and you can get so many people on a ship at a time, that I think it just makes for no lines. We just basically walked on all day. It took me 8 or 9 rides, I think 8 rides, to see all 11 sections. And the main reason for that is in the first 3 rides, I almost had the perfect hat trick. I saw 10 of the 11 sections in the first 3 rides. It then took me another 5 rides to see Naboo. Naboo was the last one that I got a chance to see. If you're looking for the perfect ride, here it is. Intro with Vader. It's better than the intro without Vader. I love the intro with Vader. The first section, Hoth is okay. The Wookiee planet is better, but the best of the first section is the pod race. To be in a pod race was so great. As far as the little interspersed, hologram messages, whatever. I mean, Leia's kind of funny, Yoda's kind of funny, but seeing Admiral Akbar, that's got to be the choice, right? So you've got with Vader intro, pod race through Tatooine, Akbar for your message, and then finally, this was the toughest one because honestly, all the finishing planets are great, like really great. But I think Naboo. I think Naboo for me was the most fun finishing planet. I think it has to do with the underwater scene and those huge aquatic monsters that are in that. Which really, now that I think about it, is really interesting because my favorite sections were primarily from the Phantom Menace. That doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like that should be the case. But being in the pod race and going underwater in Naboo were possibly my favorite thing. So that's the perfect ride for me. If I were to ride it once, those are the things I would want to get. But again, go on it a few times and see what you can see because it's an experience well worth the while.